Today is a short but fun episode for me. It's Christmas Eve, and I hope you are all out there enjoying the day and this week. And my Jewish mom is out there. Happy Hanukkah. Hopefully, you all have some time off and not just the one day. And I really hope that you are taking time to just put your feet up, enjoy the fruits of your labor this past month, and just relax for a bit. The last few weeks of the year are just insane for us mamas. We're on serious overload trying to make everything perfect for everyone. And if you could hear it in my voice, this mama is sick on top of everything. So after I record and edit this episode, I am going to try to lie down for a bit before I have to get up and go again. So let's jump right in.
Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Kerri, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life.
I like to spend the time between Christmas and the New Year reflecting on the year, taking time to see what worked, what didn't work, where I can do better, where I might have wasted my time, where I should spend more time. And I don't just do that with my personal goals, I do that with the podcast too. I take the time to look at all the analytics, see what podcast episodes did really well, what you mamas seem to like, what didn't land so well. And I thought it would be fun today to share my top performing episodes of 2024. So today, we're going to do a fun little countdown, starting with my 5th top downloaded episode, working our way down to number 1, and I'll share my favorite tip from each episode as well. And I'll link each of the episodes in the show notes so you can check them out if you haven't listened to them already. So let's get started. Coming in at number 5 was episode 126, Finding Your Village, Building Your Support Network as a Working Mom. My favorite tip from this episode is to not be afraid to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is often seen as being a weakness, but it's really one of the greatest strengths you have when you're building a village of support. It's okay to admit that you need help, whether it's from carpooling, meal planning, or just someone to listen to when the day feels completely overwhelming. Vulnerability creates connection. It allows others to see your human side, and it opens the door for them to be vulnerable too. You don't have to pretend you've got it all together 100% of the time. Spoiler alert, no one does. And I really hope that you don't have that view of me because I am not perfect either. I think it's so important that you know that. I think it's so important that you see that because there are days when I'm a hot mess. There are days when I am completely burnt out because I try to do way too much, especially around the holidays. And that's why I landed myself sick for yet another Christmas. But being vulnerable makes you relatable and it helps other moms be vulnerable too. And by being honest about your needs, you're not only building those deeper relationships, you're teaching your kids that asking for help is a powerful act of self-care. Remember, your village thrives on authenticity, not perfection. So be vulnerable. Coming in at number 4 is episode 68, How to Be a Better Coworker and Improve Work-Life Balance. I love that this was one of the top rated episodes because it shows that you care about your coworkers and that you want to improve your working relationships, which is so huge when it comes to not only creating work-life balance, but also creating an enjoyable work environment where you spend more hours of your waking life than you do with your family. So the tip that I feel is most important in this episode is to express appreciation. Showing appreciation for your coworkers, it's such a small but impactful way to foster the positive work environment, and it also can strengthen the relationships that support you as a working mom. A simple thank you or a compliment on a job well done really goes a long way, especially in the fast-paced world that we're living in today where achievements often go unnoticed. So consider writing a quick note of gratitude, buying a cup of coffee for a teammate, or acknowledging their contribution in a meeting. Showing appreciation not only boosts morale, but it also creates a culture of support and camaraderie, which can really help balancing work and make your home life a little easier. When you take the time to express genuine gratitude, you not only uplift others, but you also remind yourself of the positive connections you have at work, your work village. And it makes asking for help and actually receiving the help you need a lot easier. So A simple thank you or acknowledgement can go a long way, but if your company has any sort of recognition program, I really encourage you to use it. The next on the list goes hand in hand with learning to be a better coworker. Coming in at number 3 is episode 70, 11 ways to be a better manager and create work-life balance. The tip I feel that makes the most impact, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone because it's what this podcast is all about, promoting and encouraging work-life balance. To be the best manager, you really need to lead with empathy. And that starts with the understanding that your employees have life outside of work, that their job is only part of who they are. So it's really important to stress to your team that prioritizing personal time and setting boundaries is not only acceptable, but strongly encouraged. Be clear about expectations, emphasize productivity over the hours that they clock, and avoid rewarding that burnout culture. Where possible, you really should offer flexibility and make it a point to regularly check in with your team to ensure that their workload is manageable and that they're not working these crazy hours. Encourage open communication so that they feel comfortable coming to you and discussing any concerns. And lead by example. By leading with empathy and balance, you not only create a healthier and happier team, but you're cultivating that work environment that really supports everybody, including yourself. And it'll really help you as a manager have that work-life balance too, because you're building a stronger team that's loyal to you, that's more motivated to work harder during those work hours because you're giving them that balance at home. Coming in at number 2 is also about work, which I shouldn't be surprised because work is really what throws off most of our balance. So number 2 is episode number 56, 10 tips to be more productive at work. The tip that I find makes the most impact for me is time blocking to get actual tactical work done. I time block my calendar at least a week in advance. I look at all the things I need to get done, what their deadlines are. I look at the meetings I have and if there's anything I need to prep for those meetings. And then I block out time the following week to actually work on it. I typically have my entire week blocked out with what I'm doing in each of those time slots so that I'm intentional when I have those breaks in between meetings. But the caveat here is that I'm also flexible with those time blocks. And you need to be. Last minute meetings pop up. Your manager may need you to work on something or your team might need direction. And when those things happen, I look at those time blocks to see what can be adjusted. But I've learned from experience that if I don't block that time, someone will book it and then I won't have that flexibility to work on the things that I need to or make time for the people that need those last minute meetings. So this not only helps with my productivity, it really helps with my balance too, because I'm creating the time and the space to work on things that are a priority for me. And last but not least, and I'm totally not surprised that this came in as number 1 because I did a similar topic last year and it also came in number 1. And when I say it came in as number 1, the downloads for this episode were double what my second top downloaded episode was. So without further ado, drum roll, please. Coming in at number 1 is episode 124. Stop caring about what others think. Reclaim your peace and power. I'm actually picking 2 tips from this one because I think they're both really important. And the first is to just bring you back to reality. I looked up some statistics to share because we spend so much time worrying about what other people think or might think that when in reality, they aren't thinking about us at all. It might just be a quick judgment and then they forget about it. A lot of all this worry is in our own heads. And another crazy statistic that I shared is that over 90% of the things that we worry about never happen. That is a crazy percentage. Think about all the mental space you're wasting. Western Washington University did a study that found that on average, 70% of us are frequently worried about what other people think of us, about what we are doing, what we are wearing, how we are acting. And Cornell did a study that found that we overestimate how much other people actually notice any of those things or remember what we did, what we wore, how we acted by up to 50%. So please take that to heart the next time you find yourself starting to feel self-conscious or anxious or worried about what someone might think if you do something or not do something. And caring about what other people think often stems from our natural desire to feel that we belong, to feel that we're accepted, or to avoid conflict, which is another huge piece. It's rooted in our need for connection. So that brings us to my favorite tip, to understand the why behind we care what other people think. Is it because you value their perspective, or are you fearing judgment based on unrealistic standards? When you understand the why, you can help separate constructive feedback from unnecessary worry. And sometimes it's more about our internal self-doubt than our actual thoughts. Remember, people's opinion are often a reflection of their experiences, not your worth or your abilities. By shifting your focus to what truly aligns with your values and your goals, you'll find that the only opinions that really matter are your own, and those are the people who truly support you. I wanted to end with sharing this quote. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Keep that quote close to you the next time you are feeling judged or you're worrying about what someone might think. Really think if you would take advice from that person. And if you wouldn't, then it means that you really don't value their opinion. So stop letting them have any power over you. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's shorty. And if you haven't checked out these episodes yet, I encourage you to do some. And if you have a favorite episode or if there is one that really helped you out, I would love to hear which one it was. You can either DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life. I promise I read and respond to each and every DM. Or you can come tell us in our Facebook group, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. You might just encourage another mom to listen to an episode that can change their life too. If you are listening to this in real time, I wish all that celebrate a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy Hanukkah, and may 2025 be the year that you start making those strides to building the life you dreamed of. Sending you so much love and light. Until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Pat.
Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Pat.